So, welcome once again, viewers, to Across Guyana with the Critic. And this is our second part series in the Vice President's press conference of the Vice President's press conference that was held recently to bring some clarity as to the Vice Showtime series that claims that Guyana is up for sale. This part entails reporters from news agencies across Guyana questioning the vice president as it relates to his friendship with Sue, the Vice Showtime series, what was brought out, and I'm hoping some clarity could be brought to you, the viewers, as a result of this. Please do enjoy.
Yes.
Just some more clarifications. Understand that you will cut ties with him personally as a friend, but what about his projects with the government, his hotel and casino? I understand that he had an MOU. Does that have any standing that binds him in any way?
No, the MOUs are with Go Invest, and you can find out about all 12 of the MOUs. So all the hotels have that, and only when the project is starting to be finalized do they have it moves from an MOU to an investment agreement. He is not moved from an MOU to the investment agreement, where the terms of the MOU are then put into an investment agreement. Now that's his business with the government as an investor, so that's separate from me. But at the personal level, this is over.
So there's a possibility that he may still be allowed to go ahead?
Yeah, because if he has his money and everything else, that's for Go Invest.
Okay. The Integrity Commission, her not knowing that there was an Integrity Commission, it can be chocolate to ignorance. But also, if she was here in these 6 weeks, and in all her engagements, people, no one mentioned it to her, she doesn't know. Do you think that the government needs to do more work in this regard to strengthen the commission and to ensure that people comply?
Sure. But we always have to do that, but that was not an interest, in her interest, to find out. They can, sometimes people who come from abroad don't believe third world countries could have these things. So she came in with a preconceived idea that China is taking over Guyana, and then sought to prove that it was doing so corruptly. And so finding out about politicians submitting their statements to the Integrity Commission would have run contrary to that narrative. So no need to research that. So that's what I think. Yes, let me just finish with it.
The Chinese community, do you think that you may have to, that the Chinese community may have a certain perception of the government that may not necessarily be accurate and a representation of what is going on? If there were these parts of the interview where you saw Chinese people, their faces were blurred, but they were given certain information that you're saying is contrary to the reality.
Actually, if I think those people who said they had to I think the police should ask them about it. Because if they had to pay any bribe, the police should ask them about it, the ones who were saying this in the video. But I think also there's a subculture there that is, they fight each other a lot in some of these local groups. I can tell you now about 3 or 4 people who've been trying to contact my office. Remember, I told you this at the last press conference, who claim they have MOUs with Chinese companies. They're the local reps for the Chinese companies. And often they're competing for the same things. So they will then have fight and they among each other about who gets what. I've had cause to turn people away just a couple of weeks ago on another set of projects. They come here all the time. And there's a lot of locals, mainly locals. They come with people and say, can you see I have an investor from abroad? And if you don't see them, they say you don't want to reach out, you're aloof now, and all of that. If you see them, you don't know what they tell people. So I think they have a subculture there that thrives on this sort of thing. But if there is any evidence of wrongdoing in there and they claim they had to pay someone, then that's a matter for the
Are you
police.
calling on them to come forward if there's-
Yes, they should come forward. Anybody who has had to pay anybody for a service in government, then why not come forward now? Come and now state this clearly. Take it to the police. Take it to the police. That's what they should do. And including Norton and the others, because they like to operate in this sphere of abstract, so it must be investigated, etc. We have specific things. They would, anyhow, let me don't waste my time with Norton. Yes, all right, one more question. All right, please.
Thank you, Vice President.
Yes.
I just want you to know that you're being recorded
Okay.
at this moment.
There you are.
I saw you held a special press conference on this Vice reporter and the story they carry. When will you hold a special press conference to talk to this nation about our oil? Because you said it, the world have said it, we have gotten one of the worst contracts ever in the history of mankind. And you accepted that, our president talked about that, the opposition, the whole world is talking about that. We have heard you guys keep saying about sanctity of contract. You are binding and sticking to sanctity of contract. But Mr. Vice President, there are several other ways available to this country and to your government in which this nation, without touching that contract, we can use to rake in billions of American dollars that has not been taken into consideration. They're just being bypassed, or they're being thrown on deaf ears. You care to elaborate or expand on that a moment? Because I'm talking about the ring fencing provision, just to give an example. Right? I'm talking about renewal of contracts, of permits, and approving of projects one after the other, by not even trying to renegotiate the tax giveaway and what else we can garner out of these projects that are being just handed out willy-nilly like that. You care to elaborate a little more on that for us?
So a lot of it, Glenn, is, I know your position and your newspaper's position, and you know what we've been saying, and we've been consistent in that, what we're saying and what we're doing. So we have to also, before I come to that, also be a bit more. We have a lot of people out there who write stuff, and they're right. Some of them very reputable, and sometimes in writing they create misleading impressions. So I have agreed, and we said this before, that the contract is lopsided in terms of benefits to the investors versus the country. We said that. We said that we identified exactly the things that you've been speaking about that need changing. That is ring fencing provisions, tax issues, including royalty, etc. We, however, differ on when we do this. We said we want to do it in a new standard agreement, so any future development outside of the Stabroek block. You were saying, change this one so we can do it within the Stabroek block. That's the difference here.
I am not saying that, sir.
All right, okay, well, let me just finish. So, I've seen in the newspaper recently a lot of issue about how Exxon is drawing down billions, hundreds of billions more, and we're getting a pittance. Now, let's just talk through a bit about the formula that is now there in this lopsided contract and how it's applied to, say, the financials on a cash flow basis. That is money coming to both parties in a given year.
No, sir, I haven't asked that question.
No, I'm coming. I know I'm coming to that, but I want to share it.
Sir, let me just make my question
Okay,
very
all right.
elusive, clear.
All right, okay, well,
I am talking about not renegotiating the contract, put that aside. That's nowhere. We're not talking anything about that. I am talking
okay,
about
so not
the
renegotiating
options.
the contract.
I am talking, sir, about the options that are available at present without touching the contract, in which this country
All right.
can rake in billions of American dollars. Why these options are not
Okay, well,
being used?
when we're done, when I finish this, I would love you to tell me some of these options outside of the ones that we've mentioned that would not run afoul of the contract. Because if you can do
I
that,
can tell you now.
you would have a major discovery here. We'll hire you as a consultant
I'll tell you now.
immediately.
I'll tell you now.
If we can do this.
I'll tell you now. Approving these other projects without proper review of the field development plans that is coming with billions of American dollars
All
is
right.
one.
So you're saying
Review.
no approval of
Any
future.
other projects
All right.
without the ones that has already been approved are properly reviewed, researched, checked, and audited.
All right. So that's one.
Use any other project to ensure that this country do not lose the taxes that has been given away willy-nilly to the oil companies.
Okay. Right. Two.
I talk about the field development plans
Yes, yes.
and the review of the field development plan. That is two. There are ring fencing provisions.
That's
That should
Follow
be.
the contract.
No. That can be reinstalled. And there are so many other issues
all right.
in which.
All right. So
we
I
can
got a few. So
Okay.
I'll address those three that you mentioned, but before we do this, let me get a minute of your attention to Andemenge. So I've seen a lot of writings, including in the Stabroek News recently, about this hurricane. And so let's apply the formula that we know is in the contract on a cash basis to the 2021 financials that is just released. So the total revenue, say based on 42 lifts, right, for 2021, was about I'm going to talk only in US billions, not Guyana, so that we don't confuse it, $3 billion US. That's total, that's gross revenue for the companies. So if you split that into two, cost oil, which will be 75%, is 2.3 billion, and profit oil will be 0.7 or $700 million. Right? That's profit oil and cost oil. So the contractor is supposed to get 50%, and we're supposed to get 50% of that. So 360 million each US dollars. So the contractor then has to, because the And now I can answer definitively because I've spoken to the GRA on the tax side. So because the royalty is not cost deductible, but it is GRA based on our laws, a GRA tax deductible, but they don't come out of the cost bank. So the contractor has to pay from its share the 2% royalty to the government. So the contractor ends up with 10.5% of gross revenue, and the government ends up with 14.5% of gross revenue. That is how it is. So what will government get in a scenario like that? The government gets $420 million in profit for 2021. This is crudely put. I'm just giving you an idea. That would be equivalent to its 14.5%. And the contractor gets, that's all combined, about 300 million in profits. So you then add the contracted share is the 2.3 billion that goes to cost recovery, that is to pay back for the capital and to the operating costs, that's expenses. So the contractor's profit is 300 million and the government gets 420 million in 2021. So that was it. So when I saw figures that the contractor was getting 4 times more than that of the government, what their people are doing, they're adding also the cost recovery to the profit of the contractor and then dividing it. And so this is, I see this, and even some technical people are making that mistake. This is on a cash basis. Now, the accrual is a different matter, but you analyze a business on cash flow. This is cash flow every year. This is what the contractors take of profit in cash flow. For 2021 was around 300, and the government was 420 million. So that's sort of thing. So let me come to the issue. I just wanted to clarify that issue. You get a chance. I'm not going anywhere.
I'm just telling you, I did not ask anything.
No, but that's been in the newspapers, written about every day. It's all in your newspaper. It's in the Starbuck News. So I just wanted to make sure that that perspective comes over, because when people see that, it excites them, because they then think that the contractor's profit is 4 times that of the government. But they include in that the 75% or going to cost recovery. And that is, sometimes it makes people get angry. Now, your point about the approval. The last press conference, I sought to address some of these issues. You may not agree, we may not have agreement. I spoke about why. So if we start ring fencing now, right, we will run afoul if we'd have to have an amendment to ring fence. But you can achieve the same objective. By not approving new projects. So you kill the investment pipeline for the future. You say, we're not approving any new investment, so we will cap our production at 800,000 barrels per day, which is what the 4 projects have been approved for. So if you do that, you effectively ring fencing against future expenditure, but you can't do it against exploration, because they would still spend on the exploration side, but less on the development. No, I'm coming to it. You've got to give me a chance to explain to. So that is what I'm trying to do. So you can do it there. But is that the best decision for this country? Is that the best decision?
May I speak?
No. It's a rhetorical question.
You asked me.
No, it's not you. I'm posing a question rhetorically.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So you're,
100%.
now, I do not believe that for the following reasons. I think if we do that now at this stage, you cap not only the future growth of oil and gas production, which in the long run can be more lucrative to the country, much, much more lucrative, but you also, you will kill the momentum in the industry, the local industry that will service the oil and gas sector, because you run out on a project pipeline side. That's the second, that's the first thing. Secondly, even if you get a bit more money up front as a result of this, because you're capping expenditure, then you just save the money. I explained this at nauseam the last time we came here. You can save it. You have to save it for the future. We believe that investing it in is a better way. So this whole idea, we have discussed it already. You just don't agree with it.
No, sir. You have been, this nation, I like to stand up.
Right.
This entire nation has the worst contract on earth. And every loophole we see or we have at disposal in which we can use to garner money in our pockets, ring fencing, such an important issue, we are just throw that at the wayside.
No, we're not throwing it at the way. That's a fallacy, Glenn. I just explained to you.
This is where this country is losing billions of US dollars, my friend.
All right.
Okay. It's billions of US dollars this nation is losing on that lack of that one provision.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we, let's.
All right, again, I'll give you a chance to perform when I come on when I come on your
I talk about the field development plans,
yes,
the reviews,
right.
and the taxes.
Yes. So again, on this very same issues, they're all interlinked. That because that is what you're effectively killing the project pipeline, that by not moving forward.
So then, how this country is going to eke out anything? If it's clear to us, Mr. Vice President, that this is available for us to get money through these projects and it's not being used, then how is the nation going to get money?
No, but that's precisely. So we're getting a share of the profit oil and the royalty at this stage, and we said that from the other projects, the local content, from the gas to energy, this is where we're getting value for Guyana. It's not just revenue to the state, it is value to the country.
Mr. Vice President, you're talking about $2 when we are losing billions of American dollars.
But that is why I just
That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I saw that perspective, and that is why I started with an explanation of the cash on a cash flow basis, how much comes to the two parties in profit, pure profit. Because there is this view that when you portray it as Exxon on profit that they're raking 4 times more profit than the government. Anyhow, Dennis, yes.
Mr. Vice President, Dennis Broad, sir, could you clarify why is it that according to the Vice in the speech here, you made a point that Stuart, your friend, he gets all the support, Stuart deals with all of the agreements and the government, so I assist from the government side. That's one question. The second one, will the state be asking that the charges against low and fee that will be dropped to make way for the commission of inquiry?
Oh, the state is now, as far as I know, is not going to ask that the charges against Lowenfield be dropped. There's no such intention that I know of. So that's one. And on the other matter, would you prefer me to lie and say he's not my friend? I've known this guy, and like I know a lot of people in this country, I spoke exactly the truth then and in the interview. I said, that is so. Being friends with me doesn't mean that you can abuse the friendship. And that's what he had done. Now that I've seen this, the interview and what he said outside of the meeting, even his attempt to say, you know, the guy is clean, and then went off into something else. Now, this was, as I explained to you, Dennis, this was a secret recording, and it was not all contiguous. I don't think they were all contiguous, but throughout it all, that's why I'm giving you the context. Throughout it all, they were trying to, in 15 to 20 minutes, trying to get me to say I would be involved in his business. That is Sue's business to build a hotel and a casino, and that they, with the investor. And I said, no, throw that, you saw that. I don't want to be involved. And I do assist. If for example, that is why every one of those hotels, all 12 of the MOUs and the 18, we met with every one of those investors. Every one of them, there was a committee that was set up that met with everybody, the entire group of people, all 18 of them. This is not anything unusual. I saw one reporter said, oh, investment is not Jack Deo's portfolio. Well, what do you think we're doing to get jobs? One Jack Deo portfolio, what do you think? I'm sterile here? And a lot of people were saying, oh, it's some minister thing. Let me tell you the mere fact that we had to set up at the office of the president a unit to follow up on promises made to people and to resolve issues that people face across this country. We have already had on the outreaches over 5,000. I will intervene on a daily basis. The president does so, everyone, on NIS. NIS might not be my portfolio. On people who having a whole range of other issues, public assistance. Public assistance is not my portfolio. When I go out there, I'll make sure that people who are treated unfairly in some other matter. Maybe if they have a housing application, we'd follow up. And that is from the office of the president, from a unit that we set up. That would be seen as intervention in the portfolios of other people. If a businessman come and say, I've had my thing at Go Invest for ages, I'm creating 50 jobs, and I can't get the project through, we'll find out and we'll push it along. It doesn't mean anything illegal is done or for payment. That is how we operate. The PEP is not dodo sort of government and aloof like the Granger government doing one meeting for a month. Every day we're on the road meeting people, going through solving issues all the time. That's how we operate. So in that process, will people capitalize on it? Yes, there may be a few, but do we stop giving access to people because a few corrupt and unscrupulous people try to rip off others? The answer is no.
Yes, yes. Marisol Thomas from the Star, please. A follow-up to the very question. And I have two others. On the same, Sue is my friend and he will get all the support statement. There's a perception that you have to be your friend to get that support. With you saying that Sue is my friend, he will get all the support. Yeah. Does that mean if I am not your friend, I'm not going to get the support? That's one. Okay. Two, I need clarity on the hotel investments that you said, because as far as my recollection go, I think it's 4 casinos per region. And most of the hotels are being built in Region 4. Yeah. There is only one outstanding casino license, given that Marriott already has one.
No, there are 3. There are 3, not 4. So all of the other MOUs that we have, we now have to amend the law to do that. So there are only 3, not 4 in this region. 3. And so everyone else, but the eligibility criteria remain the same, this eligibility criteria. And on that issue, friendship. I said, this guy brought somebody over to me basically as a friend. But if you ask everyone else who has been building hotels, whether their agreement will be different than Sue or their MOU, it's the same MOU. It's exactly the same MOU. So that is why I made it clear that there is nothing special because they came to see me on a hotel and casino. We went through a public process, and the MOU for everyone is exactly the same MOU, and you can verify that with GoInvest.
And my other question was, Sue brought this person to your home. He's your neighbor. Is that the first time that Sue has brought someone into your home? A business person? And
yeah.
that's one. And from that little bit on Vice, the entire conversation seemed to have been in English, except for the part with the bride. When they broke out in Mandarin, didn't you think it odd, and given that it's impolite to speak in another language, shouldn't you have objected and said, like, we're really going on here, we are saying, or something like that?
The thing is that I don't think that was the only time that they spoke in Mandarin. I don't think that was the only time. And I didn't know if it was Mandarin or Cantonese or whatever they were talking. But frankly speaking, it was an afternoon and I was tired, so I didn't care too much what they were speaking. What I understood is he was trying all along, and I was very, very clear about that. So this is not like it was a stage managed thing, as you saw. So if they were, that is why I'm saying, if they wanted to really catch me, the guy knew English, the one, right? All he had to say, not to whisper in Mandarin to Sue, it was to say to me, we have a bribe for you. Or you wouldn't have to call it a bribe. Some money for you. And then they had the camera there. And had I taken it, that would have been the catch you moment. Why would you have to tell Sue this? And then Sue saying, oh, don't worry, I'm going to collect it. And when you come out, Sue says, he's clean. I'll wait for bigger things to give him some money. Okay? And you had to know you were being duped. When the guy said, I want to know that he's actually getting this stuff. And Sue said, no. So that is why I feel so vindicated by the whole thing. In fact, it proved in my most vulnerable moment when I I didn't know I was being recorded, that you couldn't find me taking a bribe from a person who is in my home. Okay?
You didn't answer the first question.
What?
Is it the first time that...
Oh, no, I'm trying to think. And I don't think many people at home, but he has set up meetings with other people for me. And, yeah.
Lastly, clarity on something you said about the investigation. That it would be kind of a waste of time. I don't know if that's what it is.
No, because for me, I think people, if he has done this to people and collected money from them,
No, not that. For an investigation of you.
Oh, okay, but that's an opposition thing. Yes, that's how they would. Whether even before this they were calling for that. That's nothing new. That's nothing new. That's not gonna on allegations on the basis of allegations. If we had to do that on the basis of allegations, I can say that when Norton is by Bam Bam Ali, people give him stuff too there. They tell him a lot of stuff. I don't want to deal with that. Norton.
Mr. Dr. quickly, can you give a hint as to whether the commissioners will be coming, the commission of inquiry members, the panel, where they'll be gone from locally?
Oh, I think before the end of the day, in an hour's time, you'll see that. That is going to be announced. Yeah, let me go across here first, then I come. Yes.
You mentioned that some opposition persons had reached out to you to get the interview advice. Were you aware that Vice News was in Guyana for several weeks and had visited several communities where they met with prominent opposition figures? And the second question is, the reporter referred to you during the interview as the most powerful politician in Ghana. Do you think that you were they deliberately set out to target you?
So the first one is, yes, I discovered subsequently that they had visited some places. I think they went to Surama. And I don't want to speak much about who the people are, because it could be that they were also fooled by Vice, but there were some opposition people, and clearly they had that angle to it, but I thought they were more interested in the geopolitical stuff, and obviously they got from the others, well, Jagdeo. I think also that they try to target people who have some significance. So Norton probably would have never even been targeted for a sting operation. So that on the last question that you raised about, they try to look around for people who I think have something. So they wouldn't have even targeted Norton for a sting operation, because yeah, go ahead.
Just to make clarification, how soon do you anticipate the law to be amended?
I don't know. I don't know, because none of the hotels have been built as yet. None of the hotels, but they are all eligible.
Sir, can we just touch back on...
Actually, that may have been when the Constitution thing. Remember, they asked me that the Constitution would be changed or something like that.
Oh, in
the initial interview, that might have been the Constitution of Guyana, but that didn't come up. Yes, the Constitution of Guyana, yeah, to make him president.
Sir, the press conference,
Yes.
the oil press conference.
Oh, you want me to deal with one on that?
Special, yes, sir.
A special one on that?
And have the...
Why don't we do another sit down and an interview with you?
Well, we don't have no problem, but I would have...
Right, yes.
I would have appreciated a full press conference in which you can have the whole country.
Just you want
On all the press. But that's fine.
They prefer, yes.
Sir,
Right.
may I-
No, but listen,
May I touch back?
but listen. We have a duty to give answers. You're not going to all the time agree with the answers. But not because you don't agree, you don't appreciate that we have a different perspective. If we agree to that kind of conversation, we'll always be open and give you explanations. You might know.
I have no problem with
Well, that is what we'll do. We will give access, and we will share our perspective.
But back to the question I asked. The field development plan and the field development reviews, which you said in Lisa 1 and 2, the $9 billion that the coalition government agreed, signed off, and did not verify or audit. You would have never done that, your government. There you go with the Payara, another $9 billion. You went ahead with Yellowtail, another $9 billion.
Well,
One second, I'm not finished. You can correct me at the end. Now, these are monies, your own words says that Guyana is not equipped, does not have the qualified auditors to verify and to audit these figures.
But the field development plan is separate from the auditing of expenditure.
Yes.
So we're auditing now, we're in the process of auditing the expenditure,
Yes.
right? But it is ex post. It's not before it's made. That is how it goes. So the expenditure is made, and then it's audited for veracity. And so that is happening now. The field development plan often is reviewed when you do the licensing. And so they have to submit the field development plan, and you review that as part of the licensing regime. And then as they roll out the construction and the implementation, there is a reporting relationship. So as far as I know, these have been done as part of the licensing right? The field development plan. And then the cost is a separate matter. The cost audits are done separately.
I did not get to finish my question, sir. I was asking about the Lisa 1, Lisa 2, Payara, and the Yellowtail.
Yes.
The cost and the review, the auditing.
The auditing is going on now.
We're talking.
So I said the
we're
last
talking-
time, Glenn, when you were here, I said there was 4 months was given. One of your reporters, I
I'm
think.
not asking that.
And
I understand. I'm not
That-
talking.
and I told
I am
you.
saying. I'm saying that we have almost 30-something billion American dollars. Almost 10 years of this.
30 billion.
30 billion. This year's budget. This country's budget, and we haven't.
No.
We
Several
have-
times our
Can I
budget,
finish?
yeah.
Can I
Several
finish?
times our budget. I'm helping you along.
10
It's-
times.
Right,
10
yeah, much
times.
more.
10
Yeah,
times.
much
I
more.
said
Yeah.
10 times. I said 10 times. And here we are. We are not even close to understanding that type of money in which, and I'm going to quote you back, in which 75% of that is being taken out as cost oil before Guyana gets its share of profit.
You see, there are a couple of different concepts that you're stringing together that are unrelated. And that is why I'm having a difficulty. I can answer them separately, but the 3 concepts you've just put together that are totally unrelated and not connected. So, field development plan is one thing and total cost. So when you do that, then they build an FPS, so assuming it's $10 billion. Then you have to audit that to see whether the $10 billion were actually went to the project.
Precisely.
So that's 2. Then thirdly, you have to recover the money you spent on the cost.
Correct.
So up to 75% of the income goes towards paying back those costs, say the 10 billion, 25% is remaining to be distributed. So the field development plans are often done at the time of licensing, and they're perfected a little bit later on as you go on. Then the audits are done after the FPSO is built, right?
That's what we're talking about.
And then we pay back for it. So those are the 3 concepts, the 3 things.
These are money that Guyana will never see, maybe in a lifetime. 30 billion American dollars.
But
This
it's
is
not
not
our
penny.
money. It's not our money.
Yes, sir, it's our money.
But if
Sorry,
they
these are
invest-
investments that these people are making that you said 75% is coming out on a daily basis cost oil. So how is that our money?
No, but Glenn, you get the 30 billion, and then you will make all this money too.
No, I'm not asking about that, sir. Don't do me that. I'm not asking about that. All I'm asking is that these people are spending this money here, and we, the owners of this resources, are not verifying these funds that are being spent.
No, but that's what I just told you. The audits are taking place. That's the verification.
But you, on the other hand, you're telling this nation that you were disappointed that we didn't have, or we don't have, people to verify or audit these things.
No, but that's why we're building. That is why we are building capacity of our own. We have a foreign group working along with a local consortium to do this. We have to build capacity
May
too.
I ask one last question? And then
One last question, yeah.
we are on a 50-50 business. And you just talk about that profit,
Yeah.
how it's being shared. Who's monitoring these expenses? Who is monitoring these expenses on behalf of all of us here, the entire Guyanese population?
We're a 50-50 business, not from a management perspective. So CNOOC, let me just, so you have a different view. So CNOOC is an investor. The Hess is an investor. Exxon is an investor. The 3 of them own the consortium. So then they hire an operator, which is the management firm. So even CNOOC, who has 25% shares and has 35% shares, they don't make management decisions. They don't make management decisions. And they own the 100% of this venture. They own 100% of it.
Is Guyana a 50?
We get 50% of the profit, but we're not 50% of the owners of the company. With the company is owned 100% by these three entities that I just explained. We get 50% of the profit.
So we only get 50% profit of something that we own.
Yeah, but you got my answer there, right? Yeah. No, we don't. So
And if we
it's
own
like
the resources-
it's just like a bauxite company. Say a company that comes in to do bauxite or anything for that matter. They come to Guyana, they invest, they own 100%, right? They own 100%. They then have to pay the tax at the end of the year. So they pay a 28% corporate tax. After they make their gross profit, they pay 28% tax, and then the rest goes as net profit to them. But they own 100%. So these people come in the oil and gas sector. They own 100%. There's a formula which says that on your profit, you have to give us 50% and you take 50% of the profit.
So how do one determine profit if you don't have a say in a business?
But how do you, if we don't have a say in a private business, how do we determine profit? The GRA every year looks at this. Now remember, there are two audits. The GRA has an audit where they can audit for the things that, for that purpose that you're talking about. Then there is a separate audit which is determined by the PSA, which is the audit we're doing now. So GRA still has to do its audit, the one that you're talking about, to determine profitability. So that
Make it a little more simple, sir, and I'm done. Exxon bring an FPSO and give Guyana a bill for $1 billion American when they spend 300 million. They hand us a bill and says $1 billion cost for this program. Isn't that shortening our share?
Yeah,
That's my question. Who is authorizing and who's okay?
But that is it now. So that is the ex post audit. So assuming they claim in the books $100 billion or $1 billion, but only spend 700 million, or inflate the price, the industry average is only 700 million for this piece of equipment that they claim to be $1 billion. Then the government in the audit, determined by the PSA, can flag that transaction and we can investigate the transaction. And should we find that this transaction here doesn't meet industry standard, then they can't claim that. They can't claim it. So then an additional 300 million, assuming it's true, then the 300 million goes then to profit oil for the redistribution. All right. So we'll continue this conversation elsewhere. Right.
Sir, just finally, you said you're gonna sue, right?
Right, sue. No.
But
I'll find you first.
Yeah.
I understand that point. But another thing, do you think that you suing, but you also said that you feel vindicated based on how things played out. So how exactly?
Vindicated from my end that you had people in my most an international news outfit that has gone around the world working hard to compromise me by putting in their person in my house and everything, and being unable to do so. So I feel vindicated by that in my most unguarded moment. And the country saw that. But Sue said that he never said anything about giving bribe to anyone. That is in his statement. Now I've seen thing that he said, oh, he has to share money with somebody. I don't know if.
You're not finished your question.
Okay, all right, no, but that's what I'm gonna.
Yeah, but what I wanted to know is usually in suing someone, or so you have to prove that you took a hit in some way. You're political.
So your point is I'm mitigating already by saying I'm vindicated?
Do you think your reputation took a hit like this?
Well, I think, yeah. So now that you're saying that for the lawsuit purposes, yes, my reputation took a hit globally. But globally, right? But they're not Guyanese, so they may not know. And this could be like really major because it's international. This could be really big.
Kim King, based on what she said, as a government, how do you intend to mitigate, given Showtime's audience where the episode was aired? Well, it's easier to convince the general public that somebody's guilty of something than a judicial tribunal. And there are a lot of Americans, including investors over there, watching this, and a lot of them probably believe that you take bribes.
Yeah.
How do you as a government mitigate against that?
You work for oil now, right? You ask any of the oil companies whether they view that seriously. You ask any of the oil companies because people saw it. They know the reputation of this entity, and the fact is that they saw what happened. They've been unable to prove anything of this sort. And people said, oh, I remember another point about being crude. Norton said, I'm crude when I said people come here to make money. I think even the Starbuck editorial. The reporter said to me from Vice, of recent you've been attracting a lot of investors to Guyana. And what do you think Guyana has to offer? Why do investors come to a country? It is because of the opportunities to make money. It's just blunt. It's blunt. Norton said it's crude. Imagine Norton talking about crudity. But the thing is that it's a blunt. That's who I am. That's why they're here. All of these oil and gas companies, they're tripping over each other to come here, and everyone else to come to our country. And they have seen now an attempt, a dedicated attempt to basically frame someone. And it didn't work. Our systems are, yeah.
Should the public fear now that because you might be a bit cagey based on what happened, that now you might want to have a different approach?
I think I have to analyze this, that maybe I'd have to be a bit more cautious, but then that changes exactly who I've been. Helping people, every walk of life. And anytime they have some issue in government, not because I want money from them, because I want to see things succeed, more jobs created, etc. And so that open door policy, I have to review it or put in place some other. It's very difficult to know what people say before they come to your office, because they may, you may think innocently they set up a meeting and ask you to set up someone, and they have an agreement with the person or take money from them. That's it's very hard to do this sort of thing. So I don't know. It could change. Yes, I have to think about it seriously.
Okay, just one more on the oil contract. You have said that you think that it could have been better. Mr. Law believes it's the worst contract on earth. So you differ on that. Just now you explained very clearly that based on the lips that came in for 2021, Guyana actually profited more than ExxonMobil and the entire consortium combined. Is this an evolution of your view recently on the contract?
No, it's not an evolution of the view. And it could be. I think it's lopsided. I share the same view as Mr. Lal and the others. I believe it's lopsided. And it's just that we differ on how to address this lopsidedness and the pace and when. And we've said we want to do it in any future agreement with a new standard PSA that will address all the issues that he pointed out, and his newspaper has been pointed out correctly, that all of those issues.
But why not this one?
all right, you're not. And so I don't believe that we differ on that. It's just that we share that. But I also have a duty when there is a wrong position in the newspapers to point out to the people of this country when they're being misled, like somebody saying that Exxon is raking in on a cash basis 4 times that of the government in 2021.
And that's misleading.
And that's misleading. That is misleading, and it's designed to excite people and to say basically, the government is not doing a good job. It is not true. But that doesn't mean that the contract is not lopsided. But that is factually misleading. Factually misleading. And I saw it in several places among some analysts and everyone else. All of these analysts and local people, and it's all over the place. And it's mentioned in Starbuck News, Kaituo News, everywhere else.
And you have the figures to
Yes, and I just told you how applying the formula.
It's not about a tool, it's about figures and facts.
Yes.
You said you want figures and facts.
I have that. And when I come on the program, we can go through it.
Thank you. Give us that figures and facts.
So that is what. So that is how I see it. I'm not here to defend. Exxon has to defend itself. I'm here to defend the interests of the people of this country. And we just differ on how to pursue that interest. I have a different view that getting more investments now, getting Exxon to make more investments now with this window of opportunity we have, and faster investments can best serve our nation in the long run. Some people believe no, we should slow it down so that we can get more money faster, but in the long run, I think that will harm us. That's where our perspective is. Thank you very much.
So that, I'm supposing, has been very interesting for you guys. I'm hoping, at the end, I spoke about the after party. The intention is to bring a little bit of entertainment and make it interesting for you guys. Looking forward to bringing more of what's going on across Guyana, going across Guyana with the critic to you. Thank you.